The Federal Highway Bridge Preservation Task Group, I don't know if you guys know who we are. We're made up of folks from the FHWA, regional partnerships, AASHTO technical committees, TRB committees, some academia, industry folks, and a vacant local agency position. We have a vision and a statement. Bridge preservation today for better infrastructure tomorrow. It's more about why we're all here. Spend $1 now, save $10 later kind of a thing. We're trying to, our mission is improve the state of practice with preservation, work collaboratively with all the agencies and associations, and kind of bring it together. And, John was talking about all the research out there. One of the things that always comes to mind when we spend thousands or millions of dollars on all this research, what do we do with all this research? I mean, I like to read some of this stuff, but there's really not often an implementation plan. A lot of the different states and different agencies, everyone's got different things going on. Here's our 4 primary objectives. Provide cost-effective guidance. It's more about the economy, trying to save money. That's what preservation is about. Preemptive actions and activities that'll make our infrastructure last longer, cost less money. Make that a part of the asset and performance management. 2 years ago, Josh Sletton, when he was with UDOT, I don't know if anyone, probably no one here, but it was at the Western meeting, gave a really good presentation on what he went to state legislature with, what state legislator with trying to get more funding anyway. He had a bunch of data points and analysis of their program. It was a very good program. UDOT has a great program, and he had a bunch of graphs and charts, but it was very compelling. And he went to the legislature, and he got a lot of money. But that's kind of what it's about. You have to prove that it's working and why it's working, and everybody's doing different things, so we're trying to kind of help bring it together, provide educational materials. I'll talk some more about some of our action items regarding these pocket guides and things we're doing. Encourage research and innovation. The big thing that came up is more about innovation. What can we do differently? That kind of thing. The biggest thing I think that we're involved with is updating the preservation guide. Back in 2011, it refers to the Highway Bridge Program, which was not reauthorized under MAP 21 and FAST Act, and it was replaced by the Highway Performance Program, the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program. And so now preservation funds are available. So what we want to do with the guide is look more about the cyclical and condition-based preventative maintenance activities, see what everybody's doing, kind of provide some guidance. I used to hear often that every state had difficulties getting funding from the federal highway based on, might be the same metrics or criteria, same program, and one state will get funding and one state won't. Anyway, I think the preservation guide will kind of clarify a lot of that and make it easier when that's finished. This is one thing that I'm involved with, these pocket guides. One thing, watching presentations over the years and being involved on the industry side, see a lot of the same types of failure mechanisms with specific technologies. The 4 we chose for the first 4 pocket guides are the thin polymer overlays, joint systems, coatings and paints, and bridge cleaning. They're kind of designed initially as a document, more of a checklist. What are the same errors and mistakes that are made over and over and over again? Somebody give a presentation on it. I've given many of these presentations on the thin overlays, what goes wrong consistently. It starts on the specification side as well. So these documents aren't necessarily just designed solely for the end user or inspectors. Really the folks that are involved on the design side, condition assessment, when you're putting specifications and standards together, I've been on projects where contractors, from an industry side, they're cutting corners, but if you look at the specification, they're saying, well, we bid it this way. So we want to provide guidance. Ultimately, it's going to be initially a document. It's going to be web-based. We're going to keep it updated, and we want to convert these into an application format. We have subject matter experts within the various categories, And now we have GPI as a subcontractor. I'll talk a little more about that. They're involved. If anybody has photos, good photos, we need good photos for these various pocket guides. Please forward them on if anyone does have good photos. Another part of our work plan is to develop a transportation asset preservation portal. I think this is extremely ambitious. Right now it's on hold. Maybe that's part of the reason, but it's a pool fund project. We do need a host state. You know, this is something that I could see coming together. When I think of bridge preservation, I think of something like the weather. It's very hard to really take things like, you know, conditions and distresses and weather patterns and, you know, the type of reinforcing and coverage over your steel, all these different things, and determine what's going to happen to your bridge deck in 20 or 30 years. It's like the weather, but we're getting better at it. And ultimately, if you look at the bullet points here for this asset preservation portal, it's like we're asking for a perfect world. So we're kind of heading in that direction. We're putting the parts and pieces together, and I think that's kind of the idea of the ETG here, is to kind of consolidate what everybody's doing, bring it together, and help it make sense. John mentioned this research project. This was awarded to the University of Colorado. I live in Boulder, so I should know that, and that's where George Hearn's from. He's kind of heading this up. Talking to him a little bit about it, I think with his experience with analytics and methodologies and that whole thing, it says task 3 is optional, but it sounds like he's using data points and a lot of research that's already been done to kind of help create this more analytical-based tool. That seems to be where it's headed, but you can see the way the tasks were laid out here. The other thing that more recently came into play is a communication plan, and when GPI was brought in as a subcontractor to the Federal Highway, there's a couple things they were going to do, but they thought, you know, we wanted to help put a communication plan together with you guys. Who are the stakeholders? What's their involvement? Do they know who you are? Are they going to use ETG as an asset, as a resource? We did the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and what's the last? Threats. Thank you very much. I should know that. I actually took the SWOT analysis. The other thing that we're doing, we're talking about this local agency outreach thing, keeps coming up. Western Preservation Group, Regional Partnership, created an action item, an outreach thing. TSP2 has their plan, which is more of a training program, like a 2-day training thing. So we're trying to coordinate what the Western Regional Partnership is doing, look at the other regional partnerships to see if you guys, and this partnership is involved with outreach. We've got some locals here as well, which is a good thing. I think what the Western group is trying to do is kind of an intro thing. Go out, get industry involved so it won't cost anything. Go out and do kind of a short 1 to 2 hour peer exchange thing. We're coordinating with what TSP is doing in their program, and the ETG is working with that as well. And I think as far as what GPI is doing is helping bring that together as well. That's part of what they're doing. Web presence, and then the Pocket Guide implementation plan. That's part of what GPI is doing as well. And here's some long-term action items. Collect what the other states are doing as far as practices and performance targets. Training is a big thing that's coming up. Lessons learned, peer exchanges, some of that's going on. Videos on preservation and load ratings, webinars. Looking at the sustainability of the research roadmap with some federal highway funds. And I know that NCPP has some money and they've kind of taken that over, so I'm not sure what the ETG's involvement is. One thing we thought would be good to look at innovative products, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's just an idea. The other thing is underutilized research projects, and I think even looking at what we were doing with the pocket guides, part of the development of the pocket guides are what are we going to do with these pocket guides? And having GPI involved, they had some good ideas as well, but we want an implementation plan. We've got some ideas. We want to go out and present this tool, make sure it gets used. We also want to look at all this research. It's out there, and a lot of the time it doesn't get used. So that's something we want to be involved with. I talked a little bit about GPI as a subcontractor. What they're doing now is they have been kind of taking over the ETG monthly meetings, and we are getting together as, personally getting together face-to-face once a year. They're heading up the updating of the Bridge Preservation Guide, and they also are doing a lot more work than I thought they were going to do, taking over these pocket guides, and they're going to look really nice. I've kind of seen very rough early drafts. I don't know what's going to happen with the white paper on bridge preservation, but the communication plan, that's enacted and that's ongoing right now and working out pretty well. They were involved with National Highway Institute training, I think, also with the manual, right, Pete? Yeah, with the manual. And then they also subcontracted ARA, which has worked with the Federal Highway and Everyday Counts Initiative. They're more experts on the E side of things. As far as the web-based stuff, maybe converting some of these documents to electronic documents, especially the pocket guides, so that they can get used in the field. And they were also involved with Federal Highway Innovator magazine.
The preceding video was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found at tsp2.org. That's tsp2.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.